She will resist it. She will act like it doesn't affect her. She'll even convince herself and those around her that it means nothing. But beneath the surface, this destroys her ego, and she won't even admit it to herself. See, in modern dating, most men are predictable. They chase, over-explain, seek validation, and try to fix things when a woman pulls away. But the man who understands true power, the man who applies Stoic principles, does something radically different. He doesn't react. He doesn't beg for attention. He moves in silence. And this silence, it shakes her. It makes her question everything. Because deep down, a woman expects to be pursued. She expects you to crave her validation. But when you take that power back, when you become the man who doesn't need her approval, her ego takes a hit she can't ignore. In this video, we're breaking down why this works, the psychological triggers behind it, and how you can apply Stoicism to maintain your peace, shift the power dynamic, and make her rethink everything. Let's dive in. Number 1, the illusion of control has shattered. Let's get straight to it. This woman's ego thrives on one thing, the belief that she holds power over you. And the harsh reality? You've enabled it. By constantly putting her first, bending over backward, and treating her like she's some untouchable goddess, you've unknowingly given her the green light to disregard you. Here's where most men go wrong. They assume that if they keep proving their worth through gifts, attention, and endless acts of devotion, she'll finally wake up and respect them. But that's a lie. What actually happens? She sees it as weakness. The more you give, the less she values you. Think about it. Why would she respect someone who is so easily controlled? Each time you chase, each time you reward her coldness with more effort, you reinforce her superiority. She may never admit it, but deep down she knows. She's trained you. All she has to do is pull away, act indifferent, and you'll scramble to win her favor. This is no longer attraction, this is conditioning. And as long as you play along, she will continue to exploit it. A Stoic man understands that validation from someone who doesn't genuinely appreciate him is worthless. If a woman's respect can be bought with favors, attention, or financial gestures, it was never real to begin with. She's not interested in you. She's interested in what you provide. So what happens when you take that away? When you stop responding to her ego traps? She won't show it, but it will rattle her. A woman who is used to manipulating a man's emotions hates when he suddenly stops playing the game. When she realizes her usual tactics no longer work, when she sees that her absence no longer affects you, that's when her ego takes the biggest hit. The well has dried up, the supply is cut off, and now the control she once had over you begins to crumble. Your only move now is simple. Disengage. No more chasing. No more rewarding her indifference. No more proving your worth to someone who only values what she can extract from you. And here's the kicker. When you stop feeding her ego, she'll deny that it bothers her. She'll act unbothered, pretend she never cared, maybe even throw some insults your way. But deep down, it destroys her. Because nothing shakes a woman's ego more than realizing she no longer has control over a man she once manipulated effortlessly. And that, my friend, is how you reclaim not only your dignity, but your peace of mind. Number 2, the power of indifference. From childhood, we learn a fundamental rule: reinforce good behavior, ignore the bad. This principle applies everywhere, from training a dog to managing relationships. Yet, many men abandon this wisdom when dealing with a woman who disrespects them. They cling, they plead, and in doing so, they unknowingly hand over all their power. Let's step back and apply a Stoic mindset, one rooted in emotional discipline, self-respect, and an unshakable sense of worth. When a woman begins to treat you with contempt, what's your natural reaction? Many men panic, thinking that if they just try harder, they can fix the situation. But this is where they go wrong. The true Stoic response: indifference. Picture this. You're involved with a woman who suddenly grows cold, dismissive, even condescending. Your first instinct might be to prove your worth, to show her that you're still valuable in her eyes. But here's the harsh truth. Each time you chase, each time you beg for her attention, you reinforce her sense of superiority. She sees you as someone who will accept mistreatment just to remain in her orbit. And once she knows that, your value plummets. The moment you stop reacting, everything changes. Instead of playing into her ego-driven games, you remove yourself from the equation entirely. She expects you to fight for her validation, to seek her approval, to prove yourself worthy. But when you remain unmoved, when you stop seeking her attention, you disrupt her expectations in a way that shakes her confidence. Suddenly, the power dynamic shifts. She starts to wonder why you no longer care, why you no longer react. The control she once had over your emotions begins to slip through her fingers. And this realization? It cuts deep. She will deny it. She will mask it with arrogance. But deep inside, it unsettles her. A woman who thought she could bend you at will is now faced with the cold reality that you are slipping away, and there is nothing she can do to stop it. This is how you regain control. Not through arguments, not through desperate attempts to win her back, but through an unshakable sense of self-respect. By showing her that you refuse to be treated as disposable, you force her to confront the consequences of her behavior. She begins to second-guess her actions, not because she has suddenly gained a deep respect for you, but because she now fears losing the control she once had. If you truly want a woman to regret mistreating you, the answer is simple. Withdraw your attention. Let her feel the absence of your energy, your presence, your validation. When she realizes that she is no longer the center of your focus, her ego takes a devastating hit. And by the time she starts to understand what she lost, you will already be too far gone, standing firm in the knowledge that your worth was never dependent on her validation. This is the essence of Stoicism: mastering your emotions, holding onto your dignity, and refusing to be swayed by the whims of others. A man who understands this principle commands not just respect, but true power. Number 3, the shift she never saw coming. When a woman dismisses you or disregards your feelings, it might seem like she holds the upper hand. But here's the truth. The real damage isn't being done to you. It's happening to her ego, even if she won't admit it. Why? Because the moment you stop seeking her validation, the power dynamic shifts. She might try to convince herself that your silence doesn't affect her, but deep down, it unsettles her more than she'll ever let on. In Stoicism, one of the greatest strengths a man can cultivate is mastery over his own emotions. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that you have power over your mind, not outside events. That means no one, not even a woman who once had influence over you, should dictate your sense of self-worth. The moment you internalize this, you take away her ability to affect your peace. And whether she admits it or not, that realization stings. The key here is simple. Stop feeding her ego. When you react emotionally, when you chase after respect that should be freely given, you reinforce the idea that she holds control. But the moment you step back, prioritize yourself, and refuse to be swayed by her behavior, the spell breaks. Suddenly, she's left wondering why her words and actions no longer shake you. Understand this. A woman's ego thrives on the idea that she is irreplaceable in your mind. When you detach, when you walk away with quiet confidence, it forces her to confront something uncomfortable. The reality that she was never the center of your universe. And that realization, it eats away at her more than rejection ever could. This isn't about playing games or seeking revenge. Stoicism teaches us to rise above petty conflicts. It's about reclaiming your autonomy and refusing to let anyone dictate your emotional state. Epictetus put it best. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. So take back control, Walk away from situations that diminish your value. The more you focus on your growth and self-respect, the more you naturally attract people who appreciate you. Meanwhile, she will wrestle with the silent reality that her influence over you has vanished. And that's what truly destroys her ego. If you've made it this far, let us know by dropping a comment below saying, "My power is mine." Your engagement fuels our content, and we appreciate your support. Now let's keep going. Number 4. Walking away shatters her ego. A woman will never admit it outright, but one thing that deeply unsettles her ego is a man who refuses to be controlled. When she believes she has a firm grip on your emotions, when she senses that you crave her validation, she feels in control. And as long as you allow this dynamic to persist, she will continue to test the limits of your tolerance. A Stoic understands that external factors, especially the behavior of others, are beyond his control. However, what he can control is his reaction. The mistake many men make is lingering too long in a situation where their self-respect is repeatedly tested. They hold on, hoping she will change, hoping she will recognize their worth. But true strength lies in detachment. If she disrespects you, mocks your values, or treats you as an afterthought, the most powerful thing you can do is walk away without hesitation, not with anger, not with desperation, but with complete indifference. This isn't about revenge or manipulation, it's about self-respect. By choosing to move on, you silently communicate that you will not tolerate being treated as an option. Most men fear this step because they believe leaving means losing. In reality, the opposite is true. The moment you detach, the power dynamic shifts. She expected you to stay, to keep proving your worth, to tolerate her indifference. Instead, you show her something she never saw coming. You're done chasing. And that realization, it's a dagger to her ego. Imagine this. Instead of arguing, instead of trying to convince her to change, you simply pull back. You make it clear that you seek a relationship built on mutual respect, not one-sided effort. And then, you vanish from her life. No explanations, no drawn-out discussions. Just silence. Suddenly, she is left alone with her thoughts. And this is where the regret starts creeping in. She will deny it. She will act as if she doesn't care. But deep down, she will feel the void. She will wonder why you didn't fight, why you didn't try harder. Because the truth is, nothing shakes a woman's confidence more than a man who refuses to be emotionally controlled. And if she truly valued you, if she truly saw your worth, she will realize that her behavior cost her something real. Not because you played games, but because you knew your worth and refused to settle for less. Moving on is not an act of weakness. It's the ultimate proof of strength. It's a declaration that you refuse to be anyone's afterthought. And when you embrace this mindset, you don't just regain your power, you ensure that the only relationships in your life are ones built on true respect. Number 5, the strength in letting go. This might be the most challenging step, but it's also the most freeing. Don't be afraid to walk away. Stoicism teaches us that external circumstances shouldn't have power over our inner peace. If you're facing indifference or disrespect, take it as a clear sign that the relationship has run its course. Clinging to something that no longer serves you will only prolong your suffering. The fear of being alone or the uncertainty of what comes next can cloud your judgment, making it difficult to accept the truth right in front of you. Letting go isn't an act of defeat. It's a declaration of strength. It means you recognize your own worth and refuse to settle for anything less than the respect and appreciation you deserve. If she doesn't see your value, then forcing the connection won't change that. Often, what keeps people stuck is the fear that they won't find someone better, or that they'll regret their decision. But the reality is, by releasing what's wrong for you, you make space for the right people. Those who genuinely see and respect you for who you are, not just what you can offer. Here's something to think about. The moment you truly let go, you remove the comfort of your presence from her life. If there was any real emotion left, she'll feel that loss. She may come to regret the way she treated you, realizing too late what she took for granted. But understand this. Letting go isn't about triggering regret in her. It's about reclaiming your own power and peace. It's about stepping away from a dynamic that depletes you and choosing a path that leads to growth and fulfillment. Stoicism reminds us to focus on what is within our control, our thoughts, our actions, and how we respond to situations. By walking away, you regain control over your emotional well-being. You are no longer at the mercy of someone else's actions or attitudes. This isn't just about leaving, it's about moving toward a stronger, wiser, and more self-assured version of yourself. Fear should never be the reason you stay in a situation that no longer serves you. Letting go can be the start of something better. A future where you are valued and appreciated for who you truly are. And know this, you are never truly alone. By choosing yourself, you open the door to new experiences, deeper connections, and a life where you are cherished, not just tolerated. The real victory isn't in making her realize what she lost. It's in stepping forward with confidence, dignity, and self-respect. Number 6. Build a life beyond the relationship. One of the biggest missteps men often make is structuring their entire world around a relationship, particularly when faced with a partner's indifference or disrespect. The instinctive reaction may be to try harder, to prove yourself, to sacrifice more, and to demonstrate unwavering commitment, believing that sheer effort will reignite the lost admiration. But this is a perilous illusion, one that the Stoics would advise you to resist. Stoic philosophy teaches that a well-lived life is rooted in controlling what is within your power and releasing what is not. When you make a relationship the center of your existence, you relinquish control over your own well-being, placing it in the hands of someone who may not even value it. This kind of self-neglect isn't just noticed by your partner. It erodes your own sense of worth. You begin to feel weak, reinforcing a dynamic where your efforts are neither appreciated nor respected. Imagine being a master artisan with the ability to craft incredible works. Instead of honing your skills and creating something worthwhile, you waste your time trying to fix a broken tool that no longer functions. The more energy you pour into repairing it, the less time you have to create something new and meaningful. A relationship that has become a source of pain and dishonor works in the same way. The more you invest in trying to salvage it, the more you neglect your own potential. A Stoic perspective urges you to shift your focus away from salvaging something that drains you and instead direct your energy toward enhancing your own life. Work on your career, explore your passions, or dedicate time to hobbies that bring you fulfillment. Deepen your friendships, expand your social network, and seek new experiences that enrich your growth. By doing so, you send a clear message, not just to others, but to yourself, that your happiness isn't contingent on one person's approval. This transformation isn't just about regaining self-respect, it's about embodying the kind of man who commands respect naturally. When you detach from desperation and stop clinging to a situation that no longer serves you, the dynamics inevitably shift. She may start to reconsider her behavior, realizing the value she took for granted. But here's the ultimate realization. Your true success isn't found in her remorse, but in your own growth. By crafting a life that is whole and meaningful on its own, you regain clarity, strength, and a deeper understanding of what truly matters. Whether you choose to give her another opportunity or walk away completely, you will do so with confidence and dignity. At the heart of Stoic wisdom lies the principle that your power is always within you. By focusing on your actions, your mindset, and your progress, you liberate yourself from emotional dependency and cultivate the kind of life that earns respect effortlessly. The greatest part, you will never find yourself in a position of pleading for recognition, because you will have already secured it through the way you live. Number 7, cultivate absolute detachment. One of the most effective ways to counter a woman's indifference is by fully embracing detachment, an essential tenet of Stoic philosophy. But let's be clear, detachment isn't about pretending not to care or putting on an act of indifference. It's about achieving genuine emotional autonomy. This isn't just a temporary strategy, it's a shift in mindset, one that redefines how you see yourself and the circumstances at hand. Let's face it, detaching from someone you care about isn't easy. You might still have feelings for her, but here's the hard truth rooted in Stoicism. Your inner peace should never be dictated by someone else's behavior. By embracing detachment, you reclaim control over your emotions and, in turn, the entire dynamic of the situation. Think about it this way. If a woman is used to you reacting to her every move, chasing her the moment she withdraws, she holds the upper hand. This reinforces her belief that she has control over your emotions. But once you adopt the Stoic approach of emotional detachment, you break free from this cycle. The moment you stop allowing her actions to dictate your responses, the power dynamic shifts. She no longer holds the same influence over you, and this can be a shocking realization for her. True Stoic detachment means remaining composed no matter how she behaves. You stop reacting to her attempts to provoke you, and you cease seeking validation from her. Instead, you move forward with your life as though her actions have no real impact on you. This is where the true strength of detachment lies. It sends an unmistakable message. Your self-worth is independent of her attention, approval, or opinions. Take inspiration from Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher who taught that we should only focus on what we can control, our thoughts and actions. By embodying this philosophy, you make it clear that her efforts to manipulate or control you are ineffective. She begins to notice that her usual tactics no longer yield the same results, and this unsettles her. When a woman realizes she no longer has the ability to sway your emotions, it forces her to reassess the way she has treated you. This shift in dynamic often leads to a moment of realization for her. She starts to understand that her dismissiveness and games could cost her something she never thought she'd lose: you. People rarely appreciate something they take for granted until it's gone. And when that realization hits, it can be deeply unsettling. Maintaining this level of emotional detachment isn't just about reclaiming your dignity. It's about commanding the respect you deserve. It shows her that you are not a man who can be emotionally manipulated, but one who understands his own worth. And when she finally comprehends that she has lost you, she may find herself in an unexpected position, trying to earn back what she once dismissed. So, stand firm in your detachment. Let your unwavering composure and quiet confidence speak for themselves. By doing so, you not only regain control of your emotions, but also reaffirm your self-respect and personal power. This is what it means to apply Stoic wisdom to modern relationships. When you master your own emotions, you inevitably gain mastery over the situation itself. Number 8. The strength of self-respect. If you truly want a woman to regret not valuing you, the most effective approach is to first build and exhibit unshakable self-respect. From a Stoic perspective, how people treat you is often a mirror of how you see and treat yourself. If you've tolerated disrespect in your relationship, it's important to acknowledge that this isn't just about her behavior. It also reflects what you've been willing to accept. Stoicism reminds us that we have power over our responses, not over the actions of others. Regaining respect isn't about forcing someone to change. It's about setting a new standard through your own actions. When you elevate your self-worth, you establish a boundary, one that others must acknowledge if they wish to stay in your life. This doesn't mean being prideful or confrontational. It's about recognizing your own value and refusing to tolerate anything that diminishes it. Take a moment to reflect on your personal boundaries. Are they clear? Are they strong enough to uphold the respect you deserve? For instance, if a woman continuously belittles or manipulates you, the Stoic way to handle it is with calm assertiveness. A direct yet composed response might be, "I care about this relationship, but I also respect myself. Right now, the way things are doesn't align with that respect." A statement like this not only communicates your standards, but also shifts the responsibility onto her to decide whether she will meet them. By holding firm to these principles, you naturally command respect from those around you. More importantly, you reinforce your own sense of worth. This often prompts the woman to reevaluate her actions, realizing she has crossed a line you refuse to tolerate. Seeing your unwavering stance may lead her to regret taking you for granted. Ultimately, respect is a two-way street, but it begins with how you respect yourself. The moment you set firm, non-negotiable standards for how you expect to be treated, others are left with two choices: rise to meet them or lose access to you. This is the core of Stoic wisdom: remaining steady in your principles, composed in your actions, and allowing others to come to terms with the level of respect you demand. Number 9. Make yourself the priority. We've arrived at the final and perhaps the most crucial decision in your journey toward reclaiming your self-worth and dignity: putting yourself first. As you navigate the complexities of respect and deal with the indifference of others, there's one uncomfortable truth you must acknowledge. Earning someone's respect should never be an uphill battle. The real question isn't about whether she'll recognize your value, it's about how you choose to live moving forward. Take a step back and reflect. How much energy have you wasted trying to prove yourself, fix a broken situation, or hold on to someone who may have never truly valued you? The reality is, you should have prioritized yourself from the beginning. Far too often, people chase after validation from those who continuously dismiss them. But real confidence, true self-respect, comes from realizing that external approval is unnecessary. You do not need love or acknowledgement from someone incapable of recognizing your worth. Making yourself the priority is the boldest, most transformative decision you can make. It's a statement to yourself and to the world that you refuse to exchange your dignity for fleeting attention. It's the moment you declare, "I am enough, I am whole, and I will only allow those who uplift and respect me into my life." This is the ultimate shift. By choosing yourself, you shut the door on disrespect, toxicity, and the emotional exhaustion that has weighed you down. You break free from situations that drain you and step into a life where your well-being, dreams, and happiness take center stage. From this point on, you dictate the terms of your life, no one else. The wisdom of Stoicism reminds us that true strength lies in mastering our responses, not controlling others. By making yourself a priority, you're not simply walking away from disrespect. You're embracing the Stoic principle of self-command. You're shifting your focus to what is within your control: your mindset, your choices, and your own self-respect. Picture this. You've invested so much into someone who barely acknowledges your presence, treating your devotion as a given. They assume you'll always be available, always waiting. But now, you withdraw that energy. You redirect it toward yourself. You nurture your passions, take care of your health, and surround yourself with people who truly appreciate you. Suddenly, the dynamic changes. The person who once overlooked you notices your absence. They sense the loss. And in that moment, regret sets in. They begin to realize what they took for granted, all because you demonstrated that your worth is not defined by their validation. This is how you make someone regret taking you for granted. Not by chasing them or pleading for recognition, but by elevating yourself. By stepping into your power, you naturally distance yourself from those who fail to value you, creating space for those who genuinely do. As we wrap this up, keep this in mind. The respect, dignity, and value you seek do not come from external sources. They come from how you see and treat yourself. If there's one key takeaway, it's this: what is truly meant for you will never require endless struggle. The most powerful move you can make is to prioritize yourself, and nothing is more rewarding than that. When you place yourself at the forefront of your life, everything changes. Those who fail to appreciate you will fade away, while those who recognize your true worth will be drawn to you. This transformation starts within, and only you have the power to set it in motion. If this message resonates with you, let us know in the comments by writing, "I choose myself." Your feedback fuels us to create more content that empowers and uplifts. Thank you for being here. Now, let's move forward. At the end of the day, respect, both from others and for yourself, is not something you beg for. It's something you command by how you carry yourself. A woman may test your patience, withdraw her affection, or even act indifferent, but your response determines whether you become an afterthought or an unshakable force. The lesson is clear. Silence is power. Detachment is strength. Self-respect is the ultimate leverage. When you stop chasing, when you walk away from situations that diminish you, you create a shift so profound that she has no choice but to notice. And by then, it's not about making her regret. It's about realizing that her validation was never required in the first place. A true Stoic man understands that his peace is non-negotiable. He does not seek control over others, only over himself. And in doing so, he becomes the kind of man who doesn't just attract respect, but demands it effortlessly. Now, I want to hear from you. Which part of today's message resonated the most? Drop a comment below and let me know your